Welcome children to your English class. Here we are going to continue chapter 6, The Making of a Scientist, from your supplementary English reader book, Footprints Without Feet. Let's proceed for the next part of the chapter. Children, as you've come to know from the previous part, the story The Making of a Scientist is about the great scientist Richard H. Arkwright. He had the habit of making collection of butterflies, rock fossils and coins since his childhood, as his father died in his early age. So he constantly lived with his mother. She encouraged him by taking him on the trips and bought for him telescopes and other scientific equipment. She bought a wonderful book titled The Travels of Monarch X, which changed the life of the Arkwright. Let's know what happened next in the life of Arkwright. Then in the 7th grade, he got a hint of what real science is when he entered a county science fair and lost. It was really a sad feeling to sit there and not get anything while everybody else had won something, Arkwright said. Children, here in this part, you will come to know about one of the disappointing moments of the great scientist Richard Arkwright's life. He informed her that when he was in the class 7th, he had participated in the county science fair. County science fair is a regional level science fair. He said that his first participation in this county science fair was the great failure. He had not got any position, but this participation had given him the chance to know about the real world of the science. He got the learning about exactly what the science world is. It was really a sad feeling for him to sit there as everyone was winning something except him. His entry was slides of frog tissues which he showed under a microscope. He realized the winners had tried to do real experiments, not simply make a neat display. Display means show. The science fair, Arkwright had shown the slides of frog tissues under a microscope, but he realized that all the winners had actually tried to perform on their experiments. They had not made only the display of their projects. He understood he also had to present something real in his project. Already the competitive spirit that drives Richard Arkwright was appearing. I knew that for the next year's fair, I would have to do a real experiment. He said the subject I knew most about was the insect work I had been doing in the past several years. Though Arkwright had not got any prize in the science fair, but the failure had aroused a competitive spirit in the boy. So he wrote to Dr. Arkwright for ideas, and back came a stack of suggestions for experiments. Those kept Arkwright busy all through high school and led to prize projects in county and international science fairs. Stack means the pile of objects or the list that is neatly arranged. Hence, thinking of the subject about the insects, Arkwright wrote to Dr. Arkwright asking for his ideas and suggestions for this project. Hence, Dr. Arkwright, he also responded back with lot of ideas for this project for his next year's science fair. Thus, the boy got engaged himself with all those ideas throughout his high school and won many prizes at the county and international science fairs. For his 8th grade project, Albright tried to find the cause of a viral disease that kills nearly all monarch caterpillars every few years. Cause means reason. Viral, that is a disease related to virus or viruses. Caterpillars, so these are the kind of the butterflies. Here in this further part, mention that for his 8th class project, Abred selected the subject of finding the reason of the viral disease which caused the deaths of many monarch caterpillars every few years. Albright thought the disease might be carried by a beetle. He tried raising the caterpillars in the presence of the beetles. I didn't get any real results, he said, but I went ahead and showed that I tried the experiment. This time I won. Beetle is a kind of insect. While Albright had started working on the research of finding the reason of the viral disease that was killing the monarch caterpillars, he thought first that the disease was being transmitted to the beetles to the monarch caterpillars. As he was thinking that the beetles were the carrier of the virus to the caterpillars, so he was growing these caterpillars in their presence. Though he had not got any real result out of his experiment, but he moved ahead and continued his research. Though he had not got the result of the case, but still he won the prize for his project as he had tried to make an real experiment. Next year, his science fair project was testing the theory that viceroy butterflies copy monarchs. Monarch and the viceroy butterflies are the different types of butterflies found in North America. For his next class, that is 9th class science fair project, Albright experimented on the viceroy butterflies. He tried to prove that the viceroy butterflies used to copy the monarchs. The theory was that the viceroys look like monarchs because monarchs do not taste good to birds. Viceroy, on the other hand, do taste good to the birds. So the more they look like monarchs, the less likely they are to become a bird's dinner. He put forward the fact in his theory that as the viceroy butterflies look like monarchs, as the monarchs are not taste too good to the birds, but on the other hand, the birds like to eat the viceroy butterflies. So the more the viceroy butterflies would look like monarchs, the rare would be the chance to be eaten by the birds. Albright's project was to see whether in fact birds would eat monarchs. He found that a starling would not eat ordinary bird food. It would eat all the monarchs it could get. Albright said later research by other people showed that viceroys probably do copy the monarch. This project was placed first in the geology division and third overall in the county science fair. Hence, it was Albright's project to find whether the birds would like to eat monarch butterflies or not. But he got the result that only the starling bird won't like to follow the food habits like the ordinary birds. It used to like to eat the monarch butterflies that it would get. But the further researchers had also proved that the viceroy butterflies used to copy the monarchs. Thus, this project had got the first prize in the geology department, and he also got the third overall position in the county science fair. In his second year in high school, Richard Albright began the research that led to his discovery of an unknown insect hormone. Indirectly, it also led to his new theory on the life of cells. Hormone is a natural substance that is produced in the body and that influences the way in which body grow or develops. Hormone is a natural substance that is produced in the body and that influences the way in which the body grows. So here it is explained that during his second year in the high school, Albright started the research that led to his discovery of an unknown insect hormone. In fact, this was the idea that led to his new theory about the cell life. The question he tried to answer was simple. What is the purpose of 12 tiny gold spots on a monarch pupa? Here I would like to throw light on the life cycle of the butterfly. So there are the 4 stages of their growth. First is the egg stage, where the female butterflies they legs on the plants. Second is the caterpillar or the larva stage. So this is a feeding stage. Third is the pupa. So this is the transition stage of the butterflies. Fourth is the adult. That is the reproductive or the last stage of the growth of the butterfly. Hence, Albright became quite excited to know the simple reply of the question, what is the use and the function of the 12 small golden spots on the wings of the monarch pupa? Everyone assumed the spots were just ornamental, Albright said. But Dr. Urquhart did not believe it. Here Albright stated that everyone was assuming that these spots were just ornamental. That means they were only for the decoration on the body of the. Everyone assumed the spots were just ornamental, Albright said, but Dr. Urquhart did not believe it. Here Albright made the statement that everyone had the idea that these golden spots were just only for the beauty or decoration on the body of the monarch butterfly. But Dr. Urquhart never believed it. To find the answer, Albright and another excellent science student first had to build a device that showed that the spots were producing a hormone necessary for the butterfly's full development. This project won Albright first place in the county fair and entry into the International Science and Engineering Fair. There he won third place for geology. He also got a chance to work during the summer at the entomology laboratory of the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. Entomology is the scientific study of the insects. However, this project of Albright brought him the first prize in the county fair. It also made his entry into the International Science and Engineering Fair. He also got third prize for geology in this fair. In addition to these prizes, he also got the opportunity to work during the summer at the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. In addition to all these prizes and honors, Albright also got the chance to work at the entomology laboratory of the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research during the summer. As a high school junior, Richard Albright continued his advanced experiments on the monarch pupa. That year, his project won first place at the International Science Fair and gave him another chance to work in the Army laboratory during the summer. Hence, being the student of high school junior, Richard Albright continued his advanced experiment on the theory of the monarch pupa. But again, the same year, his project got first place at the International Science Fair, and this gave him another chance to work also in the Army laboratory during the summer season. Senior year, he went a step further. He grew cells from a monarch's wing in a culture and showed that the cells would divide and develop into normal butterfly wing scales only if they were fed the hormone from the gold spots. Culture means tissue cells. Here it is informed in his further senior class 2. Richard worked on his new theory about the cell life. He worked more in his research and grew the cells from the wing of a monarch wing in a culture and tried to prove how the cells they divide and develop into the normal butterfly wing scales when they are injected with the hormones collected from the gold spots of the normal butterfly. That project won first place for geology at the International Fair. He spent the summer after graduation doing further work at the Army laboratory and at the laboratory of the US Department of Agriculture. Thus, this project again brought the first position for Albright at the International Fair in the geology science. Hence, after completing his graduation in the following summer, he carried on the same work and the project at the Army laboratory and at the laboratory of the US Department of Agriculture. The following summer, after his freshman year at Harvard University, Albright went back to the laboratory of the Department of Agriculture and did more work on the hormone from the gold spots. Using the laboratory's sophisticated instruments, he was able to identify the hormone's chemical structure. Thus, Albright, after his freshman year at Harvard, again returned to the laboratory of Department of Agriculture to identify the chemical structure of the hormone. However, using the more advanced instruments at the Department of Agriculture, he was able to get success to identify the hormone's chemical structure. Hence, using the more advanced tools and instruments of the laboratory of Department of Agriculture, Albright was able to make the discovery about the real chemical structure of the hormones. A year and a half later, during his junior year, Albright got the idea for his new theory about cell life. It came while he was looking at X-ray photos of the chemical structure of hormone. Hormone, it's already informed you, is a natural substance that is produced in a body on which depends the growth and development of a body. So here it is informed that this was the period of spending 1.5 years in his junior college. Then Albright got the exact idea about the cell life. This idea struck to his mind while he was looking at the X-ray photos of the chemical structure of the hormone. When he saw those photos, Albright did not shout, "Eureka!" or even, "I have got it." But he believed that along with his findings about insect hormones, the photos gave him the answer to one of the biologist's puzzles: how the cell can read the blueprint of its DNA. Eureka is a term used as a cry of joy by the person who makes a discovery. DNA is a chemical name for the molecule that carries the instruction in the living beings. Hence, looking at the X-ray photos of the hormone's chemical structure, he got the idea about the cell life, but he was not excited. He did not shout with joy with the words like the other explorers by saying, "Eureka!" or I made some achievement. He didn't use such remarks. He did not enjoy the moment of this discovery till he came to the realization that his years of study on the insect hormone had solved one of the puzzles of biology science. It had solved the mystery of how the cells can read the blueprint of its DNA. DNA is the substance in the nucleus of a cell that controls heredity. It determines the form and function of the cell. Thus, DNA is the blueprint for life. Nucleus is the central and the most important part of the object or the group, which form the basis for its activity and growth. Heredity, that is the passing of the physical or mental characteristics genetically from one generation to another. Blueprint, that is a design plan for technical drawing here. Hence, he made the finding that it is DNA, that is the nucleus of a cell, which controls even the heredity. It is the DNA that determines the form and the functioning of a cell. Hence, DNA is the blueprint of every life. Albright and his college roommate James R. Wong worked all that night drawing pictures and constructing plastic models of molecules to show how it could happen. Together, they later wrote the paper that explained the theory. Hence, Albright and his roommate made the drawings and plastic models of this theory, which made the show how it was possible. And later on, he wrote a paper which again explained the process. Hence, in other words, we can say that the full night, both of them, they prepared the paper explaining their theory how the cells can read the DNA. Surprising no one who knew him, Richard Albright graduated from Harvard with highest honors, second in his class of 1510. Albright went on to become a graduate student researcher at Harvard Medical School. There he began doing experiments to test his theory. It's surprising that no one was knowing in his class that he was doing the work on this theory. However, he graduated from the Harvard University with the highest honors and scoring second position in his class of the strength of 1510 students. Then he became the graduate student researcher at the Harvard University and again continued his practical experiments to test his theory. If the theory proves correct, it will be a big step towards understanding the process of life. It might also lead to new ideas for preventing some types of cancer and other diseases. However, it was expected that if the theory of Albright would prove to be right, then it would lead to the big step towards understanding the complex system of life and would help and lead to get the new ideas for preventing and controlling the certain types of cancer and other fatal diseases. All of this is possible because of Albright's scientific curiosity. His high school research into the purpose of the spots on a monarch pupa eventually led him to his theory about cell life. Curiosity, that means excitement to learn something. Thus, the credit goes to the qualities of Albright's scientific excitement and learning that made it possible about the discovery of cell life. It was all his activities and research at the high school time that was especially about the work and research on the golden spots of the monarch pupa that had finally resulted into the discovery about the cell life. So we have to be very particular about the basic years of the school life. Richard Albright has been interested in science since he first began collecting butterflies, but not so deeply that he has not time for the other interest. Albright also became a champion debater and public speaker and a good canoeist, an all-around outdoors person. He is also an expert photographer, particularly of nature and scientific exhibits. Debater is a person who argues about some subject, especially in the formal manner. Canoeist is someone who is skilled at performing the boat racing and other testing skills in the canoeing art. Exhibit, that means to make show. Here it is explained that Richard Albright was an all-rounder. He not only spent his time in the scientific activities or collecting butterflies, but he did a lot of the other excellent activities that shows his brilliance. He was a champion debater, a great public speaker, and a good boat racer. He was the all-around outdoor sports person, along with being the expert photographer. He was great at clicking the photographs of natural and the scientific subjects. He was the great photographer who was expert in taking clicks, especially of the nature and scientific shows. In high school, Richard Albright was a straight A student. Because learning was easy, he turned a lot of his energy towards the debating and Model United Nations clubs. As Richard Albright was a great student, he used to score always A grade in the high school. For him, learning was quite easy. He turned his all energy and capability towards the debating and Model United Nations clubs. As Richard Albright was a brilliant student, he used to score always A grade in his high school. He always spent his extra energy on debating and Model United Nations clubs. He also found someone to admire, Richard A. Wehrer, his social studies teacher and advisor to both clubs. However, this is also intimated here that Richard was great admirer and founder of his high school social studies teacher, that is Mr. Richard A. Wehrer, who was also advisor to Albright in the both clubs of debating and Model United Nations clubs. Mr. Wehrer was a perfect person for me then. He opened my mind to new ideas, Albright said. Even his teacher was also impressed to see the great efforts of the boy. He praised him by saying that how Richard used to give the extra 3 to 4 hours of the hard labor at night for doing the research for the debate, apart from the time he used to give to his research on the butterfly and the other interest of his life. Really, he was a laborious boy. Richard was competitive, Mr. Wehrer continued, but not in a bad sense. He explained. Richard was not interested in winning for winning's sake or winning to get a prize. Rather, he was winning because he wanted to do the best job he could. For the right reasons, he wants to be the best. Furthermore, applauding the qualities of Richard Albright, the teacher, he commented, though there was the competitive spirit in Richard, but it was not in the negative form. He said that though Richard was winning the prizes, but he didn't want to win the prize only for the sake of winning, but because he wanted that he should be the best, whatever the task he should do in his life. Hence, for the right reasons and for his positive concern for everything, he wanted to be the best person in the life. As he wanted to prove himself to be the best for the right reasons, that's why he was doing the good job and was winning in the life. And that is one of the ingredients in the making of a scientist. Start with the first-rate mind, add curiosity and mix in the will to win for the right reasons. Ingredients, that means components or elements of something. Hence, all these are the components, the ingredients that made him the great scientist in the world. Richard had the first-rated mind along with the blending of the excitement and the addition of the quality of the will, the desire to win for the right reasons. So these all became the reason of making him the great scientist in the world. From the time the book The Travels of Monarch 10th opened the world of science to him, Richard Albright has never lost his scientific curiosity. Hence, we come to know how in his childhood, reading a book, The Travels of Monarch 10th, it made a great difference in the life of Richard Albright. It opened the world of science for him. And since the time, his curiosity towards science had always grown and led to his great discovery about cell life and made him the great scientist in the world.